Hey, welcome back to the Trial and Error podcast. This is Brian. Fearless is going to be joining us here momentarily. This week's episode, we're going to kind of revisit something we've talked about before, but we can't stress enough. And it's prompted by some new stuff from the online space that I've encountered. It is the cult of not knowing shit. There is a concerted effort out there by people who are very proud of all the things that they don't know and they don't understand, and they make it a point to let you know that they ain't going to invest time to figure them things out. And so it's kind of bemoaning the death, or maybe the I can't even say the word. I said it before. Reimagining of how we view intellectual curiosity. And so that's what today's episode is. It's going to be, I've kind of formatted it so me and Fearless can really build on it um, and have the conversation around it. But it is truly about why people are happy not knowing shit. And it's really kind of a bizarre thing. Also, considering the world that we're in right now, it's such a bizarre concept to me to not have any intellectual curiosity about anything that's going on. Um, we have more access to information than ever before. Everybody is carrying around a supercomputer that rivals the output of some of the world's greatest ancient libraries. It has all of that. It has that, you know, that's in less than 1 gigabyte of information, and people just are happy not knowing things, um, to the point where they lean very comfortably into their ignorance and saying this thing is unknowable when it's 100% knowable. Like this stuff, we can know this stuff. And so this is what it is. So we're talking about the death of intellectual curiosity on this day, on this week's episode. Okay. And I'll get into um, what prompted this thread for me, because it's something I've been doing on a couple of my personal streams, and I wanted to really kind of drill into it. So I one of the things I do in my downtime, since I have ADHD, I tend to have things running in the background while I'm working on other things, just so that I have something to zone out on or something to ignore. And one of the things I stumble across to kind of relax me is reaction content. And it's sometimes it's movies, sometimes it's TV shows. More times than not, it's old school hip hop, because that's kind of where I'm at now. Not it modern stuff too, but a lot of hip hop I grew up with. I love seeing younger hip hop heads kind of fall in love with the culture and fall in love with some of the things that some of the albums that I grew up on and things like that. And so I love watching um, people get exposed to it. And one of the things I noticed is specifically, and we're going to get into age. Like some of these younger folks on there, they'll get on there and they'll be listening to an album or something, and a reference will come by that escapes them, because a lot of times this stuff is time limited, right? Like the albums and the songs, some songs are timeless, other songs are timeless, but then they have references within them that tie them to a specific point in time in history, and they will just blast right past that and be fine not understanding, and they'll let you know, I don't get the meaning, I don't get it, or whatnot. And that's fine once or twice, but then you're listening to the same artist over and over again, and they keep making the same kind of references, and they just keep buzzing right past you. At some point I would think that you would have some kind of curiosity, say, let me see what this person means, let's find out what they're saying, let's drill down a little bit and actually figure out what this little piece of slang or what this little piece of pop culture parlance actually means. And they will not do it. They will not do it. What they'll do a lot of times is, and I know a lot of times it's a framing mechanism to get engagement in your chat. Hey, chat, explain to me what this means. Okay, I get it. But sometimes it's done in earnest. A lot of times I don't really think it's done in earnest, because it goes in one ear and out the other. And it's this real pervasive lack of wanting to know something that may be outside of their realm of knowledge. And I think to a larger degree, I honestly believe that for a lot of people, that's actually the limitation, that the thing that's the albatross, the thing that has been keeping them from living the life that they want to live and enjoy, is the fact that they don't want to go out and find out shit. What's on, Fearless?
What's going on, champ?
Hey, so this week's episode, and I'm kind of contextualizing it here. Um, it's the lack of intellectual curiosity.
Oh, I don't think you want to talk about that, my guy.
Yeah, I've been talking about it
I
for.
don't think you want to talk about that.
um,
I don't think you want to talk about the fact that over half of America reads at a sixth grade reading level and below.
yeah,
You don't want to talk about that. That's not something that we should be talking about.
and that's exactly why we need to be talking about it, because people are walking around, and I just mentioned it. Everybody has a smartphone, right? Most people have a smartphone, and in that smartphone is a supercomputer, and in that supercomputer, that little supercomputer y'all have in y'all pocket is larger than the sum total of some of the ancient libraries that they mentioned throughout history. Like,
Hmm.
that's maybe 1 gigabyte of space on your phone. All that data, all that knowledge, all that information. And you have a supercomputer, you have access to pretty much any piece of information that's ever been printed, written, or recorded. And you just don't want to fucking know. Just don't care. You encounter something you don't want to know. And it's I feel like it is a pervasive thing. I think it does have something to do with reading levels. I saw a sister talking about it online. She's like, the
Hmm.
reason why hip hop's going the way it is because a lot of these kids don't read. Like, there's making fun of Jay-Z when he came out and said it, when they said, and I don't know if it's a real statement that he got attributed to him or whatnot, or if it's something that got attributed to him, but they're like,
Let's look it up. What did he say?
Somebody asked Jay about what can be done about the lyricism in hip hop to improve it, and he said, read. People need to
Hmm.
read. Um, and when I think back on some of the cats I grew up with, and I got into some dude was talking about all the, now we got all these college educated rappers. I'm like, hold on. A lot of rappers I grew up with went to college. Cube has some college under his belt. Daz Effects back in the days, they met in college. Lords of the Underground, I think they met in college. Run DMC, both of them met in college. Like, Public Enemy met in college. Like, there was a strong thread of rappers that went to college. E40 went to college. Master P went to college. Um, and it's not saying that college is this master thing where it just it's a qualifier for how intelligent you are, but um, the pursuit of wanting to know more is kind of a common thread.
Hmm.
And she was talking about how what we're running into is we're kind of seeing the slippage of literacy rates, and it's correlating with um, people not wanting to, people not wanting any actual content in their music, in their entertainment. It's not just a hip hop thing. Like, you can see lyricism across the board has been streamlined. Somebody's talking about how television shows now are dumbing down television for the audiences, because they understand that a lot of times the audiences don't understand context and subtext and metatextual stuff, and so they dial back their script writing and things along those lines. They don't have arcs that carry from one show to the next one as much, because they're trying to reach the audience where they're at. And so that's why a lot of times you have to go to, like, some of these cable channels that are paid to see really high quality writing and layered stories,
Right.
because mainstream television, their job is to capture your eyeballs, and they know that a lot of people's eyeballs will not be captured by anything that's more complex than something that can be solved in 47 minutes with
Hmm.
so.
It's so funny. I was listening to this thing on what was it? I think it was on Instagram,
Mhm.
and I subscribed to this show where they talk about all of these different TV shows and movies or whatever, right? So there's one they were talking about Con Air, and they
Uh-huh.
were talking about all the funny, weird stuff that was in this movie, right?
Right.
So there's this part. You ever see the movie Con
Oh
Air?
yeah, I've seen it plenty of times. It's one
Okay,
of my favorites.
so it's with John Malkovich.
Hmm.
There's this part in the movie. I'm sure you could probably find it on YouTube where there's about a 15-second monologue, not even dialogue, monologue of John Malkovich's character walking on top of this plane,
I remember that.
and he's just talking. I don't know if he's talking to himself or I think he's talking to somebody else, but more or less talking to himself.
Uh-huh.
And that 15 seconds of dialogue, the guy was like, this movie doesn't deserve him
Hmm.
because it was so good. The rest of the movie, the guy was like, it's trash, whatever, but I loved it personally.
Oh yeah,
But his part, you're frozen again, man.
I am.
Um, his
I keep opening other things, and Google, for
yeah,
whatever
his
reason, is being a monster.
his that one dialogue that he had was so good that it was like, why are you even in this movie? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me again. I put all these different things together. It reminds me of I think the dude's Brady something. I forgot the guy's name. Brad. He was a boxer,
Uh-huh.
and not too long ago, like some years back, he called because he needed a sparring partner. So he called Bud, and Bud showed up. Didn't go to the hotel. Didn't go to. He went straight from the airport straight to that guy's gym. Tuned up a little bit, got in the ring, and went to work on that man.
Hmm.
And he was like, okay, all right. He's like above average. Maybe he's just really excited. Next day, same thing. He's like, all right, let me switch it up a little bit. He's like, everything that I did, he had an answer for it. And he said after the match was over, the sparring was over, he's like, bro, where are you from? Asked him all those questions. And he said, dude, like, you are something different. He's like, I fight world champions all the time,
Hmm.
and not one of them are like you. He's like, you have like world champion stamped all over you, right?
Hmm.
And I just always thought like there's certain people where they just have that that thing about them. Whether you see it or not is irrelevant.
Right.
Whether they see it or not is irrelevant. They just do what they do, right? And I just thought that movie was so good, or at least that part, that regardless of how other people may have felt about the overall movie,
Hmm.
that one line, that 15-second monologue he had was it was intellect at its best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. Um,
Well,
when
and
I
I
when
think
I think about literacy, that's one of those things, man, that I think about constantly. Um, I'm always buying books. Like I'm a I just read. Let me get this book for you. I just read, and again, I'm in school and all that stuff. I got 4 classes
mhm,
back to back or whatever, and I still had time to sit down and knock this out in a day or whatever. Like it was my aunt sent this to me. It's called Solitary
mhm,
by or about Albert Wood Fox, and it was a crazy book or whatever. But she bought it, and honestly, I had no intention on reading the book. But I'm like, I ain't got nothing else to do. Let's knock it out. and I'm happy I did.
So,
He put himself in a lot of this shit though. Not gonna lie to you, but just kind of like another book. Oh man, I should have wrote that in my essay.
so, see,
Sorry.
that's all right. I'm actually going back and I'm rereading because I'm probably going to do a series on my live stream. I'm actually going back and rereading the entire Dark Tower series by Stephen King.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, and this is nerd shit, so hold on. Surprise. um, the Dark Tower, if you're interested in any form of Stephen King stuff, and I'm not talking about just his books, I'm talking about movies, TV shows, the whole nine. So, Welcome to Derry, the entire It universe, all that other stuff. If you really want to understand how Stephen King perceives all these different universes, read the Dark Tower series, because the Dark Tower series is, he said, is his magnum opus. It's the thing that ties all of his stories and books together. And so it, the entire concept of it and what it is, what Pennywise is mentioned in that book. And there's another creature that is from the same species as Pennywise in the book, who's an antagonist. But all of his stories that have supernatural stuff in them tie into the Dark Tower series. All
Okay.
of them, 7 books. These are some these books are some chunky boys. I was reading them. Um, I finished a couple. You know, what was it? I think I ran out and actually bought the last Dark Tower book because I was up to number 6, and I bought 7 um, when my wife was in labor. Right before she went in labor, I stopped by the bookstore to grab some stuff to read in the hospital, and I went
Mm.
through that entire, like, almost, it had to be like 800 pages in a couple of days. Like, I powered through those books. But if you want to understand the Stephen King universe, he made sure that, because each world, Needful Things, what's the vampire movie, a couple of other ones, um the Tommy Knockers, all of those,
I remember that one. Yeah.
Tommy Knockers, um all of those, every single one of Christine, um God dang it, Salem's Lot, um
Misery.
Misery, all of them in some
The
way, shape,
Green
or form.
Mile.
Green Mile,
Shawshank Redemption.
anything that has, okay, and I don't know if I think they mentioned something about Shawshank, and the Green Mile. Any story that has a supernatural element in the Stephen King universe, ties into is tied to the Dark Tower, because he sees them as all these worlds that he has in these stories are levels on the Dark Tower, and the main characters in the Dark Tower traverse through those different levels. And there's one level specifically that's our world, where they actually encounter him, and he made it a metaphor for how he finally kicked decades of substance abuse. And he tells
Hmm.
that story in one of the Dark
What?
Tower books.
He was a school teacher, wasn't he?
I don't know if he did school. He might have. I know that I read On Writing, which is one of the best books about the craft. I've mentioned it on this show before. Um, and he talks about his story. He might have done school teaching. I think it was because he talked about how prolific he was as a writer. And it started, like, he started writing short stories and selling them. I think when he's like 17 or 18 years old. You might have to look it up. Like I said, I don't want to freeze my camera because
Nah, you're
because
good.
Google is devouring tons of memory for no reason. But like I said, if you want an understanding, like if you're a fan of any of his work, any of his scary stories or any of his supernatural stories, um, start there. Read the Dark Tower series because they
Yeah,
all tie into one.
he was an English teacher.
Okay, that makes
High
sense.
school he was a high school English teacher.
Yeah, and like I said, in one of the Dark Tower books, it even talks about the accident that almost killed him, getting run over, and that's tied into it. And it talks about how this was kind of the tipping point of him, or had something to do with him kicking this substance use habit that he had for decades and decades.
Okay.
And I mean, it's to the point. His kids are writers. Like Joe Hill is a prolific horror writer. Right, I think he was the creator of Lock and Key, which is an amazing horror based comic book, and stuff like that. And so his craft, like it's not like one of those things where he keeps his kids out of the craft. His son is really accomplished as an author himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyway, long story short, and I'm saying all that to say this. Um, that entire base of knowledge about Stephen King comes from the fact that I read The Stand, and I was curious about the world of The Stand and where I could find out more. And immediately that's where it landed on, okay, The Dark Tower
Right.
book. And so it helped me understand the world of, like, the overarching villain of The Stand is also the overarching villain of most Stephen King books, and specifically one of the overarching villains of The Dark Tower, which is Randall Flagg, the Dark Man, Merlin, whatever you want to call him. He's a
So would
recurring villain.
he? So for the Green Mile, would he be like Percy?
He might be. I would have to look it up because I forgot what the direct connection was. There's some connection to the Green Mile, but it's the ability, like his magical ability, his gift is, I think it's considered like one of the Shining or something along those lines, where it's a gift that it's beyond human understanding that just
Mm-hmm.
happens, but in the world of the Dark Towers, it's contextualized as magic, and
Right.
it's weird magic and
But they at
technology
least,
combination.
but they at least recognize it for what it is.
Yeah. The book that really gets the book that really gets explained in the Dark Tower book is The Shining, and how that world works. And Shining, Insomnia, um, what was the one that was the sequel to The Shining? The sequel to The Shining, and I remember the movie. I'm trying to remember the book, but it was that kid from The Shining as an adult, and he's mentioned. I think he's actually a character in the Dark Tower as well.
Okay.
But they, like I said, they mention all these characters, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, it's just like it was born of intellectual curiosity. That's how I discovered this entire new world of books, which is considered like it's one of the it's fantasy, it's horror, it's action, it's all suspense, it's all everything. It's a western. It crosses all these different genres. It's a western with werewolves in it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Uh, he even has a Harry Potter reference in there because in his mind that's a level on the Dark Tower, but it's a very gruesome Potter reference. And so, um, it's just interesting. And like I said, Stephen King's not for everybody. The dude's been, he's had in his books, and as a black person reading his books, there's some problematic shit. And the way he explains how he used to depict black characters is, they always come out on top in the books, even though he's like, yeah, the language is kind of, the way that they talk and the speaking patterns and stuff. It's a white dude trying to emulate how he thinks black people sound, and it doesn't work nowadays. But whenever he had his marginalized characters in there, he's always says, I always made sure that the racists who were tormenting them always got tortured worse than they ever hurt the people, and they always come up on top. It's like, yeah, let's dial back on you writing black characters like that. Let's dial back on you
Right.
writing Mexican characters, and you trying to do their accents and stuff. That don't work.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, from a writing standpoint, just from how prolific he is as a writer, you got to sit down like, damn, this dude is, to not employ any other writers, because a lot of them do that, right? They'll employ other writers to ghostwrite for him and stuff. He writes all his own shit. That's impressive, in and of itself. And I wouldn't know all this shit if I didn't have curiosity to go figure out more about Stephen King.
Right.
So anyway, did you find that book you were looking for, Fearless?
I did. It was The Pursuit of Happiness.
Ah, yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, and again, guys, this isn't about mocking people. I don't want to mock people who don't know stuff. Like that's not what our intention is. Um, and it's not formal education versus no education. I know plenty
Right.
of informally educated people that are smarter than people who um, went and pursued their degrees. Okay, it's about the idea of I don't know that, and now I'm going to go take the next step to find out what the answer is. That's as simple as that's as simple as I'm keeping it. You know, Fearless, you mentioned this with your son. If he doesn't understand, I think you were saying if he doesn't understand the word, you make him go look it up, go figure it out,
Hmm.
go find it out, go seek it.
I mean, yeah, yeah, if you got a phone right there, so I mean, just look it up. So
Right.
yeah, I'll ask him that. Um, I'll ask him that a lot. And we also have, actually, we don't have an. It's funny. In my house, I have, oh my gosh, thousands of books.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have a dictionary.
Oh, you don't?
I don't think so.
I don't think I have a dictionary either.
Isn't that crazy?
I got encyclopedias. I don't have a dictionary.
Yeah, I don't have a dictionary. Which I'm just saying, dude. Like, if one day the internet were to go down, boy, boy, boy.
Right. Well, how many people would be able to actually? Because that's the other side. How many people would like right now? And it's an informal question. If I had to put you in a library and say, "I need you to go find a book about this," what would you do? I'm
You
asking
said,
as a
dude.
general question to the
I mean,
audience.
yeah, it's just sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, I will give you guys the answer, but it would be number one. You still have the Dewey Decimal System,
Yeah.
and the Dewey Decimal System still works even without a computer.
Yep.
Yes, that's why it works so well. Um, with that, so once you have exactly the area or the number that it is, you basically go there and find it. So even if nobody was there, but you knew before you'd be able to pull it up on a Rolodex,
Mm-hmm.
find it, and then just match the number um to the aisle that the book would be in, and then from there you can kind of follow that yellow brick road and grab it.
Yeah.
So, but again, somebody like me, I lose books constantly.
Well.
Like, dude, I've had to buy. You'd be surprised how many times I've had to rebuy books because I've already bought that copy
Mm-hmm.
and didn't know it. So I subscribe to this thing called Book of the Month Club or Book of the Month,
Mm-hmm.
and they send you an actual book every month, or you can go in and buy more. Right? You know how many times I've bought duplicate books to the point where I have to give them away or whatever. So I told them, I'm like, hey, it'd be a great idea, like Amazon. Like if you buy a book, put that I already own this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Put that I already got it, so then I don't buy it again.
Okay.
Because Amazon, I love it because they tell you you already purchased this item
Yeah.
or you purchased it here. I'm like, damn, I already bought that. Now I gotta go through my house and search for where I put it. And then I got 19 boxes of books downstairs in my basement. And we're not even talking about I have what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I have 9 other bookshelves packed with books. And we're not, and again, that's still not even talking about the 19 boxes of books, what is it, file books that I have downstairs. So
Yeah.
I literally have my own library.
And I think it's one of those things where um And people think that you have to be on it like that. Fearless is an outlier for a lot of stuff, man. Like for the book
Yeah,
specifically, but
yeah,
we're just saying crack the spine of a book every once in a while, or pick up your phone if you don't know how a thing works. Turn on your phone and say, "How does this thing work?"
yeah. That's
and
it.
find out. Because what we're running into is, and the reason why I called it the cult of not knowing, it's a cult thing
Oh, the cult of not knowing.
where people act like some of this shit that we encounter is this unknowable thing just because they can scarcely understand how it works. And so we get into these weird conversations about climate change, how vaccines work, how medicine works, how germs transmit, um, simple things that we have kind of known and understood for decades. All of a sudden is, well, we really don't know about that. Are you sure? Tariffs is a thing that I've been talking to people
Yeah, I was
about,
just
because
talking to Jessica about that today. Yeah.
how tariffs work. Like, I ended up getting this camera for my business, new DJI toy.
Oh,
So
what is
what
that? Let me see that. What is that?
DJI Nano.
Oh,
So
where do you get that at?
got it off Amazon. It's a wearable camera, right? So I
What does that
can
mean?
so basically I could take it off. So this is the monitor. Like, I can, if I wanted to watch the monitor, I could. But if I just wanted to just go out and do stuff, I can just let me turn that right side up first. I can just put this around my neck and wear my camera. See, bought it for a basketball business for the coaches, and it gives me the
Oh,
same
dude.
quality and stuff. That the Osmo. Well, it's not, the sensor's a little bit smaller than the Pocket, but it could do a lot of the same things. Everything's magnetic. Has a little thing on there. I could just stick it to stuff if I need to stick
Hey,
it to a wall and
send me a
record.
link to that.
Bet I will. Um,
You
I'll
already
send
know you already know what I'm about to do.
I'll send you the link to where I got it and stuff. But yeah, this it's a little toy that I got because I was like, okay,
How
I
much was that?
329.
Hmm.
It's a toy it's a little thing. It's not a toy, but it's something I got because I was curious about the question: how do I simplify recording basketball stuff for my coaches so I don't always have to be there standing with the camera? And so I'm like, all right, if they have a camera that they wear, and they can just send me the footage, it solves the problem. Some people won't even take that step.
Hmm.
And the tariffs boil down to why this costs more than when they listed it, because I think initially it was like listed at $299. It has everything to do with the tariffs. This camera doesn't cost more; the internals of it do. Um, and people thinking that there's this big slush fund of tariff money that they're about to get. Let me explain. Let me help y'all to this, and this is why intellectual curiosity matters. Okay. Yes, the duties that are collected when the stuff hits shores, right? They collect those duties or whatnot. What the companies do then, once they have to pay those duties and those fees to get stuff imported, they look at that item and say, okay, we're going to make the consumer pay for this. And so the price of the thing that you receive as the end user goes up automatically. And unfortunately, the prices never come down. And here's the thing. So, okay, you buy American if you want to skip that. Here's the thing. One, even if you buy American, things have parts that have to be shipped in. That's one. We can't produce enough aluminum here to meet our needs. So we always have to import aluminum. How many things are made out of aluminum in this country or have aluminum composite in them? That's two.
Right.
But three, so the price gets passed. And three, American companies are looking at these foreign companies who have raised their prices because they are charging. They have to offset the cost of the tariffs plus build in their profit margin. And the American companies like, well, shit, they raise their prices. I can raise my price a little bit. I know I don't have to import anything, but I can raise my price a little bit to stay competitive. So they're not going to stay artificially cheap. And so now the price of everything goes up. But here's the game. So the Supreme Court last week came down and said, hey man, Trump, you can't just unilaterally impose tariffs without congressional oversight. And so the tariffs you set aside are null and void. And so all these companies are like, all right, so cool. Our lawyer's about to give y'all a call. We gonna need our shit back. We gonna need our money back.
Mm-hmm.
And so all this money that these people were convinced were gonna come through in tariff refunds and stuff, guess who's getting that money?
Those same companies.
Those companies are getting their money back. But you don't
And
already.
then, hey, you've already paid for it. And
Yeah.
not only that, they're not going to lower the prices.
Right.
Because they're already up there. It is what it is.
They've already found the market will pay that. So they ain't
Yeah.
about to lower them prices. And so the government basically paid these companies to increase their prices. That's the game. And because what used to be known economic science about tariffs all of a sudden became this unknowable thing for a bunch of people. Now we stuck with these tariffs and this increased cost of living for no good reason whatsoever. I'll send you the video of the dude. He's one of the most foremost economists, and he gives you the kind of he talks about trade deficits and all this other stuff. And one of the ones that stuck with me, I watched him last week. It was really entertaining. But he said, right now, I'm in a tremendous trade deficit with the grocery store. Because I buy way more from them than they ever buy from me.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm at a trade deficit with the shoe store. And the university that employs me is at a huge trade deficit with me.
Mm-hmm. Just like I am with Amazon and all the stuff that I buy from them.
Because he said trade deficits just means that we get we're customers of their products.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad thing. And that's why there's a market. He runs it all the way down. I'll send the link to you. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do that here in a second. Because this dude his stuff was amazing, and he really breaks down how this shit works. It's worth the watch. For the if you're inclined with understanding how some of this shit works. But long story short, that's why we're stuck with where we are, because people had no intellectual curiosity about what tariffs are. They just listen to somebody telling them what tariffs are and how they work, and they're like, well, it must work like that because this guy said it worked like that.
Right.
So that's where lack of intellectual curiosity lands you. And I get on my kids about it, right? Like, my son will ask me something like, you have a smartphone, man. Look that shit up.
Yeah.
Look it up, find out.
I'm like, right. And my son, what's so funny, man, is I didn't know that a D was still passing.
I learned that.
I'm going to say that again. I did not know that a D was still passing. So if my son is walking in the house and he has F's, I'm like, son, that means you're not doing anything. The only way you can have an F is if you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
D is an effort. D means that you put in for some kind of effort at on some level. F just means you didn't even apply. You didn't even
apply yourself.
It's
like the only thing you got right was your name on your paper.
Well, I've seen
type shit. You know what I'm saying?
I saw an interesting conversation online, and it's something along the lines of argument that I've had with my kids, where somebody's like, "What do I need to?" It said, "What do I need to know how to figure out the other side of a triangle? Why do I need to know that? I'm going in construction."
I mean, I get that.
You going it well, but here's what
I get that.
The reason why it was an interesting conversation was because the construction worker chimed in and said, I work construction. I've been working construction for however many years. You better fucking know how to figure out the other side of a triangle if you come on my construction yard. Otherwise, I can't hire you."
But that's the point, though.
Yeah.
If he were going into anything else, he wouldn't need to know that. So
Mhm.
the fact that if he wants to go into construction, you want to know that for this reason.
Mhm.
The problem with what's going on right now, and again, I just did a paper on this, is the fact that education is not built on, there's a word I'm looking for
Utility.
that goes into it. Man, what was my man? I did a whole paper on this stuff. Man,
Well,
thank God we have to save our papers, or at least I do. Hold on, did I name it? Read since I was a kid. Okay, peer review did that one. Was it cause and effect? Nope. Anyway, I did this whole thing on kids and learning,
mhm.
and the reason why I'm gonna have to find it. But anyway, the reason why I did it was because it. I think that the assignment. I think we got to pick what we wanted to do.
Mhm.
So I talked about the correlation. I think that's the word I was looking for. The correlation between what I'm learning and why I'm learning it.
Okay.
If you're teaching somebody just to be teaching them, there's no reason for them to hold on to what you just told them. So in psychology, there's a certain word for that, where you teach a person something, it goes in one ear, straight on out the other,
Okay.
right? So because there's no reason to hold on to it.
Mhm.
I don't see there's not a logical reason for me to know this information. Hence, that's why you can tell people shit, it goes in one ear, right out the other. But what happens when you tell a person something who doesn't do any research, who doesn't read anything? And I couldn't find that quote from Jay Z, by the way.
Gotcha.
Um, um, who doesn't re-go in and do the research for themselves to find out not only if he said this, when he said this,
Yeah.
why he said this, or whatever, right? Because then, if I hadn't looked that up, I could have been walking around saying, "Oh, even Jay Z said
Yeah.
blah 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 blah." The thing that I love about college, and I'm gonna go back into it, is that it makes you ask questions. It makes you say, "Where's where'd you get this information? Where are you citing this from?" I can't write a paper without citing it.
Yeah.
I can't say that somebody said something without citing it. It has to have an insight and a fucking reference. So even when you're writing out your paragraph, if you're talking about something that's referring to something or someone else, you gotta cite it.
Mhm.
That's I love that. Now, could I have learned that outside of this? Dude, I've been reading, I can honestly say professionally for what, 25 years, somewhere around there.
Mhm.
And I never once read about citing. I never once read about how to actually write a proper paper. I didn't need to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I I I didn't care. But now that I'm doing it and I'm writing papers all the time, now I have to care. Now I have to. Now there's a reason why I have to know this. Because
And
my teacher's gonna be like, "Hey, I can't accept this," and that's happened before. I got docked because I was talking about something on this chick's page. Now it was my own personal um belief and my own personal ideas, but they were so connected to each other
Hmm.
that he's thinking that it came from her. I feel the same way. But because of context, she has, you know what I'm saying? It looks like it's being plagiarized. It
Hmm.
is not. I feel the same exact way. But because I'm reading this story about this, I now unfortunately have to give those kudos to her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but again, recently I sat down and I worked out how many books I've read since 2002
Hmm.
to now. Okay, Brian, I have read, and again, it's a between. I have read between, so I've read at least 3 books
Hmm.
a week for the last 20 some years.
Oh wow.
There was one week, I think we were talking about it. I read like 5 or 6 books in
Hmm.
that week, and I've done that multiple times, right? Again,
Well.
this book right here, 400 and I don't know if you can see all the little red marks that
Hmm.
I made or whatever. I write in all of my books. See, the date that I started was 2/28. The day
Hmm.
that I ended was 3/1. So that means I read this book in a day. I started reading this at 7:30 on the 28th. I finished at I think 10 o'clock in the morning. But again, I slept, got up, ate, shit, shaved, showered, sat down, read the rest of it. Done. I gave it a 4.5, 414 pages. Done. So if a person says, well, how does a person read a book in a day? This is how. And again, I work, full time dad,
Hmm.
all that shit. And we still went out and got stuff done, did shit. But boom, in a day, right? So for me, knocking out a book a day, or I remember one time I read 2 full books, and it was from the Wayward Pine series. You
Hmm.
remember that show,
Mm-mm.
Wayward Pines?
Uh-uh.
It was by Blake Crouch.
Okay.
He has a show on, I think it's either Netflix or Hulu, called The Dark Matter.
I've heard of that one.
That's Blake Crouch. I read that book too. Um, I've read a lot of that guy's books. He has some really good stuff. But again, I read 2 of those books because I think it's like a series of 3 or 4. But I
Hmm.
read 2 in one day. Great books or whatever. And I'm the type of guy, bro. I will get up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Give me my books. Give me some water? Put a little bit of jazz music on, and bro, I'll sit for hours by myself reading. You understand me?
Yeah.
So reading 3 books a week, and that's average for me to do 3 books a week for that for 20 some years. It came up to like I've read between 19 and 25,000 books within that time span,
Okay.
right?
Wow.
Like I'm like, dude, how is that? Hold on. And see that doesn't even does that even
So
would that even I don't is that possible? I mean I guess it No, I know my math has to be right. Just saying it out loud doesn't seem like a. You know what? Let's ask chat.
All right. So to your point,
What do you
and it's
think?
so to your point, um, one of the things regarding the education and the way it is structured is I'm of two minds. Like, yes, there's some superfluous stuff that's being taught, but I also understand from running a training business, sometimes you don't know exactly what somebody's going to be utilizing that knowledge for. And so it's hard to narrowly target it, specifically when you're dealing with kids. um you don't know what they're going to do when they get older. You don't know what jobs they're going to pursue, what college degree they're going to pursue. And so the goal is try to shove in as much knowledge as you possibly can about as many different things as possible. Hopefully they can use one that takes root. I do think that there is do think that we do need to have options, if kid options, not where it's expected, but options for kids to specialize in specific things as they go through their high school career. And some high schools are set up like that, where you can kind of specialize in a specific core group of studies, and every class you take aligns with that. It was kind of like a college thing. But I can understand where kids are like,
Oh, dude, I
okay,
was so off on my guy.
uh, I can understand
Ugh.
where kids get that. Well, I'm not going to use this. Why do I need to know this? But I think a lot of times, specifically when you're talking about large public schools, specifically when you're dealing with thousands of kids, um, it's hard to individualize every single thing to suit what everybody's core interests are. I do think they need to have pathways that are available for kids that really do want to focus on a specific core group of study, where they can, where it's kind of a college thing. I know some school, I think my kid's school does it to a degree. I do think that there should be a balance there. And I know, like I said, from my basketball training thing, sometimes you bring a kid in, you don't know what position they're going to play. So they need to learn how to do everything on the floor. And so we're going to teach them everything. And then once we kind of flesh out where they're actually realistically going to be and what they're going to be playing when they get to their school and stuff, then we can talk about the skills they're going to need to build to do that. But
Hmm.
I do see a utility of having that big groundswell of knowledge. The example I use is this: when I was doing case management with the state, and this sucked. I'm gonna just be honest with you, this sucked. Um, we had to go through 30 days, and I was like the second or third class in the program that they're running. So they didn't have the training laid out. They didn't know how the training was going to go. So they put us in 30 days of heavy duty training, um, that your basic you know state worker would get over 6 months. We had 30 days to absorb all of that, and all of the training was about abuse neglect cases and how a child abuse and stuff like that matriculates up through the state, and what if X happens, it's Y, then when to use this specific assessment, who to call. Like, it was 30 days of that, 30 days of this. With 2 days left, they took me and I think bro's name was John, um, Carla. Like, it was me and two or three other people. They pulled us into a room and said, "Okay, you guys are going to be working with probation kids, and so here's what your probation training is. We don't even know what we're supposed to teach you, but I'm gonna try my best." I remember very clearly Tony Green, who's the state administrator, said this: "I'm gonna try to teach you what I think you're supposed to know. I have no idea what they want us to teach you or what we're supposed to teach you." And
I know who Tony Green is.
yeah,
How did you know him?
he at the time he was the state administrator for juvenile services, and so he was like he was the guy for the probation, uh, juvenile detention, that track of kids.
Did you like him? Was he cool?
The interaction I had with him was cool. The time I've interacted with him and came to him with when I was encountering bullshit, he was pretty cool. I can't give some blanket, oh man, he's always cool and stuff like that, but he was cool at the time. And so, um, but yeah, he pulled us in and said, all that stuff we taught you is for abuse neglect cases. None of that applies to y'all. So the last 28 days that y'all sat in on does not apply to most of what you do. The
Hmm.
vast majority of what you do. The information I give you is the stuff that we normally give. And that's why I said 6 months. This is stuff that normally you have to do like a 6 month apprenticeship for as an OJS worker before you even take cases. So he's going to take 6 months of knowledge and give it to us in 2 days.
Oh wow.
And that's what
Talk
they
about
try.
talk
And
about narrowing it down.
and you talk about being set up to fail. And so they did all that stuff, gave us all of this stuff, and basically it's like, good luck. And he's like, guys, it's not my call. It's coming down from above me, which was it was the state wanted to privatize childcare so that they can fire a bunch of state workers who are union, and that's really what it was. It was union busting. And so they gave it to us, and I'm working my case. I'm working my caseloads the best way I can. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm trying my best. And then I end up with abuse neglect case because the brother was involved in probation, but there's also abuse neglect charges against the parents. So now that entire 28 days, okay, so now some of this 28 days shit is making sense because I have to be out for initial assessment. There's forensic interviews that have to happen, all kinds of other stuff. I have to know how to do some of this stuff.
Right.
And had I not gone through what felt like, and at the end of the day, it was kind of a pointless 28 days, but had I not gone through that entire 28 days of knowledge, I wouldn't have had any frame of reference to use when I got these very specialized abuse neglect cases with children.
Mm.
So sometimes you never know when the knowledge is going to be important, but
Hey,
you're glad you have it. Now,
so
I'm
that
not saying
number.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I'm not going to say that's always the case, but sometimes it does help. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
No, what I was going to say is that number was massively off. It was actually 3,744,
Okay.
which seems a lot. Because even when I sound like, man, that seems way too. Yeah, I actually put an extra thing in there, so my fault. It was 3,744. So it basically comes out to about 144 books a year, 12 books a month, which again, I've done that in. I think that the most books that I've read in a month, I think we were doing this at the time, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it was. I don't know what that was. It. I know it's in the 20s. I'm pretty sure that it was because I know because we were talking about it. Because because I wanted to try to do like a book a day or something somewhere up around there. Or whatever, but I know it was up in the 20s in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my personal best. Yeah. So I would have to actually go through and no, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was 17. Because I think it was in the month of January that I did it.
Okay.
Was it? I don't know. Anyway, so it's about 144 books average.
Yeah.
But again, I've done way more than that. So that seems about right that it would be because 3 books a week it would be nothing for me to do that. Hell, it took me 2 days to read, no, maybe 3 to read Shogun.
Mm-hmm.
And that book was like 1,200, almost 1,300 pages. Yeah, that was a really good book, though. Oh
Well,
my gosh.
and so we're saying this, they're saying all that to say this, y'all. You don't have to be our level of invested in finding shit out.
Nah.
But when you have a supercomputer in your pocket that has access to entire libraries worth of information, tutorials on just about how to do anything, free
Yeah.
lectures from experts, all these things. And you just like, I'm just cool with not knowing. I don't care enough. That's fine if you don't care enough. There are things I don't care to know. right? That's fine. But when it's something that impacts you or something that you do need to follow up on, that's weird to me to not follow up on it. And the way I got on this track was, strangely enough, I was listening. I like to watch on YouTube. I like to watch reaction channels of people reacting to like hip hop and stuff, like where they get to discover what my journey with hip hop was as a kid, where I kind of fell in love with the lyricism and things along those lines. And so I like to watch people react to stuff of the early 80s, 90s, 2000s, underground stuff, modern stuff. However, I like to watch people reacting to it. And I started hitting on this trend, and I hate to put it like this, but it was some of the younger folks. Whenever you listen to music that's not of your era, you're going to run into bits of language and parlance that you're not familiar with. Like they're not, you didn't grow up with them, you're not aware of them. I don't mind if every once in a while something like, okay, I don't get that reference, it goes over my head. But if you're listening to the same artist and they make the same reference and you're still like, I don't know what that means. Okay, so now this is twice that this person's made this reference and you still don't know what it means. Okay, now we're in the third song by this artist. They made the same reference and you're still wondering what this means. Now, if you listen to this person 3 times, you've encountered this piece of knowledge 3 separate occasions, and not once did you say, let me look this up and find out what it means. You're just going to keep asking, what does he mean by that? What does he mean by that? That's enough to make me unsubscribe from your channel. And I've done it before where I was like, I'm not going to do this with you. Where I'm not going to sit here and watch you stumble around in the darkness over something so small that takes you 5 seconds to learn. Because one, I'm like, I'm watching this to see you react and do what I did, where I go find stuff out. And I didn't have a smartphone to figure shit out. When I first listened to Wu-Tang, I had to figure out that they were 5%ers. Actually, I had to find out what that meant. I had to figure out what the supreme mathematics and alphabet meant and all that other stuff. And I had to figure what those terms meant. I had contextual clues and I had context clues for what some of the slang was. And I figured out "Oh Earth" was when somebody said "Oh Earth," that was his mom. Okay, I figured that out through context clues. But I had to go figure that stuff out on my own. And I did, so I could better understand what they were saying.
Did you like Brand Nubians?
I like Brand Nubian. Brand Nubian was 5%. And that's where I had, and so they were 5%ers. And so I had to start asking around kids that were their parents were in the Nation of Islam. What does this mean? Oh, well, my mom and dad are in the 5%, or my dad is Fruit of Islam. He doesn't really mess with 5%ers like that, but that's what this is. And so actually, what I'm saying is I had to go figure the shit out. And I didn't have a smartphone to do it. You just had to find out. And so to have access to that level of knowledge and just keep getting hit with something that you don't know what it is, and then you still don't figure it out, it's such a bizarre off concept to me. I don't understand it. And I guess it comes from growing up. Hey, mom, what does this word mean? We have a dictionary. Go look it up. I don't want to. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, go look it up. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny, man. I've knew about like I like the Poor Righteous Teachers. They were really cool. What's so funny, man, is that the group that I listen to the most and still do, and even when I listen to them today, I can listen to them with a brand new not only curiosity, but a brand new appreciation for what they were talking about is X Clan.
Yep.
Like that was my favorite group growing up. And I still listen to their first album still to this day. And I still learn stuff listening to that. Again, their first album was, oh my gosh, hold on, let me find it. Their first album was in 1990.
Yeah.
1990. But I mean, man, I love this shit. Oh my god, Brother J, uh, Professor X, the Overseer. Oh my god,
I think they might have, I think I recently saw one of them had passed on, but the surviving,
PXL,
yeah, the surviving one has been
PXL.
dropping stuff still. Um,
Yeah, but Brother J has under different things, whatever. Yeah, but Professor X, that's the one who was always saying, "Sissy."
yeah.
That was him, and now he's been passed on for a while now.
So speaking of
Like,
that,
yeah, but that's like my favorite group.
speaking of that era, of that era of hip hop and cats that were involved in it, like because I know Tribe Called Quest was Zulu Nation and De La Soul was kind of tied into that. Bob Power died, and Bob Power is the engineer behind Tribe Called Quest, D'Angelo, Roots, um, pretty much that entire era of hip hop of got Black Sheep, Native Tongues, all of those guys. I think he did some. He might have engineered some X Clan stuff. He might have engineered some Public Enemy stuff. He passed on yesterday. I was kind of bummed out to see that. Um,
Mm,
but his album is really a who's who like of music across all the different types of genres. um and it's really fascinating to go through. And this is an aside, if you want to know who I'm talking about, look, Google Bob Power and just look at
mm,
his discography is absolutely insane. It's like his production is production discography is mind melting. How many different
right.
artists, and an engineer is the one that makes the song sound the way it does. And so some
Hmm.
of your favorite songs would not sound the way that you remember them had there not been a Bob Power there. And one of the interesting things is, there's an interview with Bob Power. He talks about working with Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest. He talked about how amazing it was where Q-Tip and Fife didn't have studios in their head, but Q-Tip would do the entire sequence of a song and have it in his brain, sampling everything, and then come to a studio and just boom, 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 lay it out. He would sit there and sequence the song in his head with no equipment, and then come
Oh
lay it
wow.
out. And Bob Power's like, I've never seen anybody do that ever. Um, but it's just interesting. You watch some of his old interviews and stuff like that. You watch people that talk to him, really knowledgeable about a lot of things, and that's intellectual curiosity. That's the assignment. If you have any passing interest in, um, East Coast hip hop, neo soul, even though I know Raphael Sadiq hates that term. He hates that. He went on a tirade about that term. Um, but neo soul, any electronic music, things along those lines in the New York club scene of the 90s, Bob Power was kind of a linchpin in that as an
Right.
engineer.
You
Um,
know what? PXO, Professor X, the Overseer, his father was Sonny Carson.
mm, oh, wow. Sonny Carson, Man Child in the Promised Land? Yeah, it is. That's the Sonny Carson.
Yeah, that's what his father was. So again, with X Clan, dude, it was something different with him, man.
What was a Man Child in the Promised Land? Or was that? No, wait a minute. Why am I thinking Sonny Carson when I think Man Child in the Promised Land? That wasn't the
I
same thing. That was Claude Brown.
wasn't who?
That was Claude Brown wrote Man Child in the Promised Land, didn't he?
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
So Man Child in the Promised Land, that one you might want to get up on too. Basically, it's a guy documenting New York life as a black person in the 30s, and through, growing up in the foster care system and all kinds of other stuff, and having to bounce between juvenile facilities and things along those lines. Really interesting book. I read it when I was like 16 years old, because my mom used to have for those that don't know, my grandma was a curator, the educationist in St. Carson. That's where I saw it. My grandma was a curator at the Great Plains Black History Museum, and my mom had like she had her own library of black literature from the Panthers and things like that, stuff that wasn't mainstream press, wasn't pressed to the mainstream. And so
I got it.
I got a lot of Don Lee stuff, Don L. Lee stuff before he changed his name, um, and Nikki Giovanni's early stuff and all kinds of other stuff.
I like her. Yeah,
And so I had all that in my basement. Man Child in the Promised Land
yeah.
was the one I went down there and grabbed.
I loved her and oh my god, my man. Um, when they would go back and forth, man, I love their art. I love their conversations. James Baldwin,
Yeah,
man,
James Baldwin.
that was beautiful. That's my guy, dude. I love that dude.
I'm trying to figure out what the connection is in the Promised Land. I'm trying to figure out what the connection is. Why I thought when you said Sonny Carson, I thought Man Child in the Promised Land, and it's not. So anyway, but yeah, liberty, yes. Sorry guys, 5%ers believe 10% of the world knows the truth. 85% ignorance, 5% of the poor righteous teachers to enlighten the masses. Yeah, and that's what it was. I didn't realize that. Like my first encounter with it, I had a friend who was his family is Nation of Islam and stuff, and he kind of hit me to some of what that is, and that triple stage darkness and all that stuff. He kind of put me on to some of it, but I actually had to ask him. I had to go seek it. Nobody was there to give it to me. I had to go find that information
Yeah,
and
dude,
understand.
that ain't something that you just don't come up with off the top of your dome.
And this is
You gotta
1990.
ask somebody.
This is 1994. So I'm running
Oh
around trying to
wow.
figure this out in 1994, and I had enough wanting to. I had enough curiosity to want to go find this out myself in
Mm-hmm.
1994. With yes, there was internet, but internet wasn't interneting like that.
No.
like this was. I learned it in 94. I talked to my boy in 94 and then 95 when I got a chance to get into the computer lab and get online. That's when I started looking up some of this stuff a little bit, and I had to put it into my brain. I think what the mechanism we're losing is the idea of seeking knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't know, taking for granted that, because some people just take it for granted that they don't know. They're just like, I don't know that.
I don't know.
And that's fine. Like I said, there's certain things.
And right, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're okay with not knowing, that's fine. But don't act like, don't state that you know something to be factual. Like, I'll give you an example. I had a conversation with an associate of mine yesterday,
Mhm.
and we hadn't spoken in years. And she just out of the blue asked me, how do you feel about our president? And I said, I'm not particularly fond of any of them
Mhm.
in general. Um, like in particular, I don't really think that they have the people's best interests at heart. I think that we could do better as a country, and we choose not to.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, I totally disagree with that, and I think that Donald Trump is doing a great job." Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I mean, you're not gonna get no conversation with me out of it.
Mm.
Um, again, I don't care.
Yeah.
If that's how you feel, that's what I'm saying. How you feel, but I mean, I will say though um, that it also lets me know what you will and will not. I don't want to say. I'm going to say not only acknowledge, but what you're okay with.
Yeah.
Whatever, and that lets me know that without you having to say, "Hey, I'm cool with this over here. I'm cool with that over there." Perfect. So, and again, like I said, I don't give a shit. Like, if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't.
Right.
Um, in a couple years, he'll be out of office, and it'll be somebody else, and then other people will complain about that person.
Yep.
So again, you know what I'm saying. So if you're gonna And again, I don't think she was trying to bait me or anything like
Mm.
that. She was just asking, like, what do you think? Like, do you really think I'm going to? No, I'm cool. I'm good. Me personally, I'm okay.
Well, and
Next, please.
I go to this, like, if you don't, it is a warning. If you don't want me to share what I think about a thing, don't ask me what I think
Don't
about it,
ask me.
because you may get an answer you're not quite prepared for. Because my thing I always follow up is, you're gonna have to qualify that. Like, if you
Yeah,
say, if you think, oh, wonderful, great, okay, qualify that for me.
yeah,
What do you mean? And somebody actually got mad at me for saying that to them. Like, hey, bro, you're gonna have to qualify that. What do you mean? I'm just saying that you're just like, if you're gonna make this assertion about this specific president or whoever,
yeah.
you're gonna have to qualify that.
Whoever.
You're gonna have to qualify that to me, as and sell me on the idea, because I don't necessarily agree with you. Well, listen, I'm not looking to fight you about it. I really don't care
Yeah.
that much. But you
That,
asked me what I thought. You gave me an opinion, and now I'm saying, okay, that's fine. Here's my opinion. You gave me yours. Qualify what you're thinking, because I'm going to call. If you ask me why I believe what I believe, I'm going to have my reasons why. Why? Why I don't fuck with this person or fuck with that person. The most recent one is, I think I had to get into somebody with about Peter Thiel and JD Vance and their
oh,
little weird connection. And I said, I need to hip you on something about Peter Thiel now. Peter Thiel, yeah, he grew up in South Africa, and that's not a disqualifying thing by any measure. But where he grew up in South Africa was really interesting. Where he grew up was a place where a lot of Germans, a little village that Germans that were coming out of Nazi Germany ran to, so they can continue to be Nazis publicly, since it was outlawed in Germany.
hmm.
That's where he grew up.
Either there or there would have been his wares.
His
Yeah.
dad, his dad cared enough to move them all over the world until he landed on a place where you can openly be you can be at a place where you're openly a Nazi.
Hmm.
And it's like, and I'm not saying that it 100% enforces all of his beliefs, but I haven't seen a lot that goes against what he might have learned in that space to counter that narrative. So if you ask me what I think when you have strange, dubious connections to Nazi shit, I'm going to look at you in a very skeptical manner.
Yeah.
Then
I
don't
mean,
ask me.
I don't necessarily know if I personally can do much. Like I'm about to write a paper on beliefs and how they how they manipulate and guide
Mm-hmm.
how not only we treat ourselves, but how we treat other people.
Mm-hmm.
In the field of anthropology, um, they talk a lot about that. I need to start writing those things down before they take our books so we can't read them anymore. But there's this part in um let me find it for you right quick because it was
Okay.
so good. Oh my gosh! But they were talking. What week am I on? I think this is week 8. Dude, as soon as we get our assignments, I knock that shit out. Like I don't play around, broski. Yeah, because here it is. Here it is. So we were looking at. Yeah, here it is down here. Found it. Okay, so there's this thing called the dialectic of field work.
Mm-hmm.
And hold on one sec. And again, you guys, this is in anthropology. So please bear with me for a second. If you guys wouldn't mind. Damn, where is that? Okay, so we
So,
have cited field work. Get the okay, that's why. Um, but it basically is that the one? Okay, here it is. The process of building a bridge of understanding between anthropologists
Hmm.
and informants so that each can begin to understand the other. And we don't have a lot of that in general. Um, we use this thing called ethnocentrists.
Hmm.
Um, Hold on one second, let me find where that word is. But there's this word, ethnocent, uh, ethnocentrist.
Yep.
And do you have it?
Ethnocentrists. I can pull
Yeah.
it up. I was looking up something else. Ethnocentrism, evaluation of other cultures according to preconceptions originating in the standards and customs of one's own culture.
Right. And that's the problem that colonists, colonizers, people run into whenever you're looking into someone else's culture.
Hmm.
Is that you have this ethnocentrism, if you will, about somebody else's culture based on the way you do things
Yeah.
and your ideology and your cultural norms and all that. So if you're sitting there watching people eat grub, lift up rocks and grabbing certain beetles and making paste and grabbing leaves and firing it up and eating it and stuff, you're gonna be thinking these people are disgusting.
Yep.
Or or you see a group of natives who are setting fires to a forest and you thinking that they're just trying to destroy everything. Whereas, but again, you don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why you have to have that dialectic of field work. And the word dia, and it didn't tell me here, but I just understand it. Dia means to go deeper. So when you hear the word diagnostic, it
Hmm.
means to look inside of something more. It means to look into it. So diagnosis means to look. Any words you see that says dia, it means to look deeper into something. Just like if you see the word epi,
Hmm.
like a word that's like an EpiPen. Epi means you have to go into the skin.
Right.
So that's literally what that word is. It means to go deep. It means to dig deep into whatever it is that you're talking about or whatever. So if we're, and then electric is to understand what we're talking about. And field work is being in another person's environment, being in another person's society, being in another person's culture. So you put all that stuff together, it's trying to understand and build that bridge
Hmm.
between my life and my custom norms and yours. Why do you do what you do? And you may not give two shits of who I am and why I do what I do. Um, I think it was I forgot what the guy's name is. He's a regular on Joe Rogan. I think his last name is Cho. And he was talking about being in the Hansa tribe, um, which is in Africa.
Yep.
And he was explaining to them because they asked him, "How do you eat? What do you do for eating?" And the guy was explaining the grocery store system.
Hmm.
And these hunter gatherers are looking at him like, "Wait, what?" People actually go out and go hunt your food for you. They cut the food up for you. You go to a place and then you buy the food.
That's got a
You
mind that
take it.
blow their mind.
That blows their mind because they're like, "Wait, what? Why would you? Why would they do that? Why would you do that?" I was just reading another thing in here where it talks about what's it participant observation.
Hmm.
I think that's where they were talking about it from, and they were talking about the different custom norms in Tanzania. again in Africa, where the um the the anthropologists, the people going to go study their stuff or whatever, um, they they were from all of different places, mainly the Western America or the Western society, and we love to have our alone time, right?
Hmm.
So, but in their culture, when you're off by yourself, it is a mental problem.
Ah,
So they see it as you're depressed. And when you're depressed in their society, the group comes in and they follow you. They want to be around you because they believe that you need that that camaraderie.
that makes sense.
Whereas here in the West, we just need some time to unwind. We need some time just to be by ourselves. They consider people being alone as being insane and mentally unstable.
Oh wow.
So, motherfucker, I love this shit. Like, what? Like, what? And again, I mean, I wouldn't have learned it if I didn't have to learn this. One of the most of the people I'm in school with right now are kids.
Yeah.
And this young lady said to me yesterday, she said, "Sir, I love your enthusiasm about what you bring to class." Because she's like, I'm always like, "Hey, everybody, hello, it's week 8. Happy to see you guys." And then I'll state whatever, my assignment is. But I'm always giddy and happy to be in. And I'm like, man, like chapter 8 was long as fuck. Oh my God. But it was probably like one of my favorite chapters because now it's going into a lot of that stuff or whatever. So like I think I'm gonna love anthropology, like not anthropology, sociology,
Uh,
because anthropology is studying ancient type of shit. Sociology is studying the systems that make us for where we are now, which I'm very interested in.
okay, here's one I'll throw your way.
Please do.
Because it has something to do with the PayPal mafia. Um, for
Ah, yeah,
those,
there's about 10 of them, ain't it?
yeah. And they
Mm.
basically are the like a who's who of who's running all of Silicon Valley right now.
Yeah, that part. Yeah.
Look up Curtis Yarvin, and some of his writings, because a lot of PayPal mafia
C or
are
a K.
C, um, Yarvin with a Y. Um, they're adherents to his kind of, they call it
Spell Yarvin. Y.
Yarvin. He has this philosophy, and they call it dark fantasy or whatnot. Basically, it's the idea that um, democracy is wrong. It's not a way of being. It's not a way of thing, and everything has to be the ideal world is structured like a giant corporation. And his phrasing is, some people are more conditioned to be slaves than others. Okay, and so
That sounds about right.
and so if you want to know how Elon and Peter Thiel and some of the other, like the guy who owned the former CEO of LinkedIn, all those guys, Yelp, all those guys, if you want to know how they think and why they advance the policies they advance, look at Curtis Yarvin,
Hmm.
and read him, because Teal is a huge fan. Him and Elon are huge fans of his. They quote his stuff. They've cited his stuff and things along those lines. Um, if you want to know how a specific segment of tech billionaires perceives the world, and it's kind of influenced by when they try to set these tech cities up, where they're like, in this city there's going to be no democracy, it's going to be run by a CEO, and that's the world that they're trying to build. And so it's interesting to see, so that you know who's out there and you can decide who you're going to, where politically, where you fall in that spectrum, and what you want to align with and what you don't. But Curtis Yarvin. Interesting cat, and that's not saying that in.
I don't think these people are actually truly. You can tell that a lot of these guys are not, don't really study history
Yeah.
at all, like whatsoever. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I see this going down a very um I see this going down a very volatile road.
Yeah.
And these guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I don't think that they're gonna come out of this thinking that everything's gonna be okay. Um, because we have this ideology apparently as a culture where we think that just because you're rich, you're right,
Yeah.
and yet that you're authoritative. And I've told you before, like I'm not gonna lie to you, like I there's certain things that people do, and I like the way that they do things in China
Mhm.
when it comes to this type of shit, where you think you're bigger than our country, and when you think that you're bigger than the country, there, you- and you're into some weird shit,
Mhm.
dude. They do some pretty they do some pretty deep stuff, dude.
Well, and here's the thing. So you see some of the interactions that they have at some, because all of these tech summits or whatnot. And my barber kind of hit me too. I went and watched the video, and the video. This is long since been taken down. But he was talking about, you go watch this tech summit where you got Zuckerberg and a couple of other guys in there, and you think they'd be talking about technology that's advancing the world, and these dudes are sitting around talking about their doomsday bunkers and how they're going to they have a specific segment of population they're going to bring with them and how they're going to keep control of their doomsday bunkers. He's like, why are they sitting around talking about this stuff instead of how their technology is going to improve the planet for everybody? Like, because that's kind of what they think. That's their view of where things are going, and it's really we're far afield of what we were talking about, but it's really kind of an interesting worldview that you think if you're a billionaire, okay, so I got my bunker I'm gonna huddle down into. I paid this dude who used to be in Delta Force, and when the shit goes down, he's gonna immediately fly out to my location. I told him he could bring his family and they can hunker down in my bunker, and he's gonna protect me from all of these other people. And my question is, so you pick Delta Force or the SEALs or something where it's been kind of established that there's a specific type of what is it? I don't want to say psychopathy. There's a antisocial behavior that dictates whether you're going to succeed in these special operator roles in the military because of some of the dark shit you have to do, kill women and children, all
Mm-hmm.
kinds of other stuff. So you're going to bring this man in with his family, put him down in the bunker, and he's going to protect you from everybody else. Who's going to protect you from him?
Right.
Where now we in the dark ages. All money doesn't mean anything right now. Like we're living in a bunker, so money doesn't necessarily mean anything right now. It's who has access to the resources. Got it. Cool. What's keeping him from forcing you to give him access to your resources? Because he's trained to torture people and hurt people and gain compliance from uncompliant people. You think your money's gonna make a difference? We don't have internet. The money, you're off the grid. The grid shut down. Your money is digital. What is that? What are you going to pay him with? That's going to matter to him. You got 5 of them in there. What's keeping them from all getting together and say, hey, we're going to be the council of 5. This dude is a good mark. He has all the resources together. We just gonna bum rush him and divvy up his resources between us and our families. And we get to decide if this dude's gonna survive or not. And I think there's a level of disconnect when you get to that level where you don't think on those terms. You think that because people are subservient to you because you have billions and billions of dollars, because they want part of your billions and billions of dollars, You think that that's just how the world is, and it's like, well, when the money don't matter, you know, one of my boys put it like this. He's like, things get tribal when it comes down to survival.
Hmm.
And it's always baffled me that they'll sit down and talk about this kind of stuff. It's like, so who's gonna keep this in charge? Like, you got your little walled off garden. I'm a George A. Romero fan, where it was a Day of the Dead, where they're all in that bunker and everything, and it's like castle walls and zombies are coming in and all that stuff. You got your fortified whatever. Who is gonna keep you safe from everybody else when they hungry? You got all the food and they ain't got none. That's what I'm asking. Interesting uh, worldview. Because me and you, we done seen people when they have nothing and what they willing to do. And you telling me that you, Mr. Billionaire, sitting up here in your whatever, and this dude over here is hungry, and there's nowhere for you to go. You think he's all, listen to
Hmm.
me, I got a bunch of money. I'll put you out. No, you won't. I bet you won't. So I don't know. I'm always fascinated by this stuff, but I'm also fascinated why instead of talking about how they're going to advance the world and stuff, they're sitting there and talking about what their doomsday bunker looks like. It's such a weird concept to me, such a bizarre concept to me, but it is what it is. All right.
Hmm. Yeah, I was just this is funny. Yeah, I started that's man, this is crazy. This dude is this dude was at Trump's inaugural
Uh huh.
ball
Well,
last.
Yarvin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's a bit like
Um,
they love him in that they for whatever reason they love him, and you read some of the shit, it's like, oh, this is a very unwashed opinion.
Steve Bannon loves his stuff.
Mhm.
Michael Anton loves his stuff.
Yeah, you should really
The
see.
department.
We got to talk off air because I'm doing my independent journalism streak came out as the Epstein's files dropped, and there's a lot of information out there that is public knowledge, but it's not public knowledge because people don't read um, about those people that you
This
just
is
named,
crazy.
about those people that you just named, and it's a lot
Like
deeper.
this is like
It's a lot deeper and darker than most
this is
people
really
think.
what y'all doing?
Yeah, it's a lot deeper and darker than people think, which is scary. I'm just be honest with you. Um,
That's crazy.
um,
That dude said that no. Um I need to find I need to
he's a blogger. There's a lot of his shit that he's written and stuff like that.
yeah.
And I don't necessarily know because there's something about it. You guys read the post from Matt Schumer about I have not. What can you summarize it and then I can go look it up?
Okay, say it one more time, Brian.
I'm gonna respond to Liberty Twitcher. All right, give me a second. I can't necessarily click on these. So I have to like Google it. I can't like click on the link in this interface.
Okay, hold on. By the way, speaking of deeper and darker, have you guys read the post from Matt Schumer about AI?
I
Hmm.
know that they're having a big to do um about arthroscopic and why their government contract got pulled because they would not green light usage of their AI to autonomously kill people. And arthroscopic ended up getting their government contract pulled because they wouldn't let the military use it to autonomously go out and blow up stuff. So When you have the time, mind blowing. If it only half true. Okay, I'm gonna check it out because I got a couple of things. I got a couple of things to prep for my stream tonight, so I'll probably check that out. Um, yeah. Um, and so I'm gonna look at it and kind of see. I know the back and forth about what AI is and what AI is not is kind of an interesting thing. And I know CEO of Other Side AI. One of my friends is out there in Silicon Valley, and a lot of the stuff that they're talking about is all built around AI and different use cases of it. Last year, the big to do was about AI agents and stuff like that, and so now, and vertical integration of AI agents, where you have AI agent that does a specific field or industry or whatnot. So I'm all invested in this. I did just a couple weeks ago, I did an entire presentation about this to our business thing about how they can be utilizing it, and we had to trim out a lot of stuff because there's some deeper and darker uses of AI that they weren't ready for. Oh, it's already now. That's already now that one I got from the source. That's already happening. My buddy works over in HR in Silicon Valley, and the conversations he's having is a lot different than the conversations you're seeing on the news.
Okay, so what is
they're looking at AI as a way to reduce a lot of white collar jobs, but I mean a
they've
lot of
been
them,
doing that?
yeah, but a lot of them are using it as a pretense because they haven't gotten the technology to the point where they can actually replace these people. They're just downsizing so they can position and build the AI agents and models to replace these people. They don't have some of them don't have them yet.
Hey, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one, Brian.
What?
I'm kind of with Liberty Switcher on this one. No, man, it's already happening.
Well,
People
no.
are being let go.
Oh, I'm not saying this. I'm not saying that that's
Yeah,
not
no,
happening.
for that reason.
But what I'm saying is they let them go, but they don't quite have the model to fully replace them. They're still mastering the model. Like the model can't just slide in and do their job autonomously. There's still a lot of testing and things along those lines. They're making it so that they can put the model in their place so they can start doing some of the beta testing and all the other stuff to see
Okay,
what it's capable of. And
but
they're rolling
here's
the
where I
dice.
disagree on that. So what is that? What is that model called when as soon as this phone comes out or whatever, it's already what? How many years behind?
Yeah.
This phone is however many years behind. And Korea, I think it was in Korea, South Korea, was it China? Um,
China's AI OpenSeek is way more advanced than anything we got right now running.
right, but that's my point though.
Mm-hmm.
There's other stuff that are already out here
Mm-hmm.
that we don't have access to that they probably do
Yeah,
have
that's what I'm telling
access
you.
to, that they're getting rid of people because it's not that it's on its way here. They're just trying to figure it out. No, they've already figured it out. Now, other people haven't caught up yet,
Mm.
but some of these other companies already have.
So what I'm saying is because we're saying the same thing, I'm saying it a different way. So they have to move the people out so they can put the models in place so the models can start educating themselves on how to do these people's job. And the only way you can do it is by replacing those people with the model and letting the model kind of work its way through what the process is so that you can beta test it in real life. So it's way advanced than anything that we're seeing right now.
Right.
But it's not perfected yet. It's not good enough. Like, and for them, they don't really care if it's good enough
I get it.
to work
I get it.
error free.
No, it's kind of like it's kind of like playing Grand Theft Auto,
Mm-hmm.
and you can still point the gun in a person's face and they're gonna scream and run away.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some people in real life, you point a gun at them, they ain't gonna give 2 fucks,
Yeah.
right? Because they about whatever.
Yeah.
Once you get to the point where you're like that on that video game, where you're driving your car and all of a sudden somebody just come through, beat your ass, take your money and your gun, and you like, dude, like, you shouldn't be doing all this to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't gotten to that place, at least maybe not yet. But At the same time, though, um, but at the same time, in Grand Theft Auto, with those updates, if you're in the wrong neighborhood and you start screeching your tires,
Hmm.
the other gang members will come out and start shooting you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're not playing. So eventually, I think that just like video gaming, it's going to be a point where, like, and this is not online, this is just in gameplay. It's going to get so to the point where you're not going to know who's real and who's not.
Yeah.
Like Anya's boyfriend, husband,
He just
work.
commented on it.
Yeah, awesome. He works at a place right now where he works at a call department. I'm scared kind of for that dude because of what we know that's coming. You know what I'm saying? What happens when AI takes that over? Which is not a if, that's a when AI takes it over.
And so the way that you position yourself as the person that is the implementation expert with your company and say, I'm the AI implementation expert, because that's an emerging field. Actually, I talked to somebody about that. That's an emerging field. You can actually sell your services as, I'm the person that teaches you how, that shows you how to implement this within the business model. And I can, since I know this company so intrinsically, I can integrate AI the way that you want to integrate it into the business
Right.
model here. You get your little 6-figure check and you go off and go do it somewhere else. And that's the way that you buffer against this, because the people that are going to get caught up are the people that are fighting so hard against it. And I understand I understand most of the arguments against AI, but a lot of the arguments against AI can also be said for streaming on Netflix and streaming on Spotify and all the other stuff. The amount of resource consumption is outpaced by streaming on Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Here's what I'm saying. And if you're listening, bro, this is what you got to do. You got to know the systems of your company so well and understand them, and step to your boss and say, I want to learn the AI stuff that you're using so I can help you implement it. That's how you buffer, and that's how you shield yourself from this, so that you become the vital piece that connects the pieces together. Because if they get rid of you, the two systems won't connect with one another.
And I love what you just said there, Liberty Twitcher. And I
All right.
100% agree with you. Liberty Twitcher says it's futile to argue against technological advances. Get on board or get left behind. And that is I can't think of a better place than this statement to be true than college,
Mm-hmm.
because they have a huge issue. No, knock on wood, with people using Chat GPT for the work. And I was just watching, like, I go there myself when I have certain papers. Hey, help me create an outline.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is my assignment. I don't understand what they're asking for. What do they want me to do? Sometimes AI can help me better than my college professors can.
Mm-hmm.
That's the honest to God truth. A fucking computer can help me better than my college professors can.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot who I was talking to. I was talking to a friend of mine. And we were talking about that. How why is it that we spend all this money for education, and then when we ask our teachers questions, they act like we're bothering them, or like it's such an imposition to answer a fucking question. They're like, well, dude, just go read the syllabus, or I just laid it out. Bitch, if I'm asking you, answer my question.
Yeah.
So I'm like, cool, no problem. How about this? I won't even ask you no more. So what do? I go to chat. Have chat answer it. Oh, okay, cool. Done.
Well, and it's what I'm telling my kids, because both of my kids, since they're at the age where they're asking the morality and stuff, the moral questions about AI and stuff and usage. And I understand what they're saying, right? But
Yeah,
my
sure.
take to them is, you can have your moral argument, and I get it and I honor it and I respect the fact that you have thoughts around it to this point to understand the real life impact and how it can actually harm people. But what I'm going to tell you is you can have your moral argument, but you better damn sure know how to use this stuff and know what it can and what it can't do, and make then you frame your moral argument about whether you're going to what you're going to utilize it for. But you better have the knowledge in your back pocket.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things, there's a lot of stuff that I don't use on a daily basis, but that is good knowledge to have. Like when you lock your keys out of your car, if you have an old model car, how to get in. If you lose your keys, how to start a car without keys. These are
Hmm.
things I learned as a teenager. These are things that I learned about that I don't use on a daily basis, but it's knowledge that you do have. And so, yes, have your moral argument against it. You can say, you're against the resource use of resources, all that stuff. Fantastic. That is a wonderful stance. I am not diminishing what you believe at all. I want you to 100%. If that's what you want to stake in the ground, roll with it. You better know how this shit works. You had better know how this shit works, because whether you like it or not, it's going to shape where you are and what you're able to do in the entrepreneurship world or the labor market. So you
Yeah.
better know how, you better have an understanding of it. And what I'm running into is people that have the moral argument against AI, but then have no understanding of what they're actually moralizing against. They
Right.
don't understand. Well, I mean, if you've Googled anything in the past 10 years, you've used Gemini. It just wasn't called Gemini.
Hmm.
It was called
And
something
that
else.
and that's my point. That's all I'm saying is that a lot of these AI models are already they've been there for a long time. They've been testing this stuff out.
Yeah.
Now they're just calling it something. Now they're just rolling it out. Like Liberty Switcher said, that model that y'all paying $20 for, that only tells that's the tip of the iceberg compared to what that $200
Yeah.
uh, uh, thing will get you. This gets you all that dark web shit that you don't find out over here. That's all just sitting over here waiting for. Like I'm almost scared to look to see exactly what that one could do.
You should see what you
Liberty
should
Switcher, what can I do?
you should you should see what I'm getting for
Oh
60.
wow.
You should see, hey, you guys should see what I'm getting for $60 on the Manus agent, which is Manus is absolutely flanking Chat GPT. I'm just letting you guys know. Like I've been fearless, no, I've been talking about it since forever. Manus is flanking Chat GPT. And it can do stuff, it can do shit that ChatGPT struggles with. And I've actually asked a friend of mine who actually has built an AI. He was working on building in it using the Claude bot and building his own internal server for AI to run in his own house, which is his own independent thing. He's building it. And me and him have the conversation all the time. Is ChatGPT getting dumber to you? And he pays for that top end. He's like, yeah, it kind of is.
So which one do you use, Mantis?
I use Manus. It just got acquired by Meta. Um, but I paid $60 for the Manus one, and it's able to do stuff that ChatGPT has completely failed me on.
Like what?
Like multi-sequence, like I'm in the marketing space, right? So I can do multi-sequence campaigns. I can build entire websites and deploy them, connect my Stripe account to them, and charge money on them. That's what I'm doing with my studio right now. Um, I can um, have it do entire. I can use it to help me do audits of people's entire marketing things from my dashboard. It can access people's websites and scroll through them and search them, and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of things that it does that ChatGPT is like, I don't know how to do it, or it gives me middling results, or just hallucinates some bullshit.
Hmm.
So I still pay for my Chat GPT, but it's more of a whip this thing up, write this thing out for me, or give me an outline so I can write something tool.
Hmm.
Manus is
So So what is how does Manus work with or integrate with your personality, like it knowing you the way that
It
that
does.
chat knows certain people and how they write their all their stuff, whatever, you know what I mean?
It knows
Like how does
it knows
what?
my websites and everything. I won't have to, because sometimes ChatGPT will forget something. Even if I put it in its knowledge base, it will ignore that. I
Hmm.
haven't had that same issue with Manus yet. And so it learns stuff. Like if I say, hey, I need you to write something for this business or whatnot, it'll say, okay, so this is the business. It'll pull over my font, my colors, my branding, my entire brand identity when it whips up a flyer or something along those lines.
Okay, how do you spell that?
MA. I'll send you the link so that you can have it, because it helps me out too if I send you the Manus link. So I'll send you the Manus here. But yeah, copy invite link. But yeah, it like I said, it's like it's an AI agent, not to sidetrack. Right, YouTube pop man, moonshots of the diamonds, 40 million AI company. All right, hold on 1 second, Liberty. Let me send this over to Fearless real quick, then I will answer your question. ADHD is taking a hold of me, and I'm trying to multitask, and that is not a happy place for me. um, but yeah, and if you really want to know the one I'm about to pivot to Gemini and offload it because I'm already paying for the pro version of Gemini just because I have a Google account. I have my own Google email. Since I have that, I already have the higher version of Gemini, and Gemini. Um, the only reason I don't do Gemini more than ChatGPT is because Gemini talks too damn much. Like it will sit there and give you a 40-minute explanation on a simple question, but it is
Hmm.
thorough. It is thorough. Um, I don't mean to sidetrack you. I recommend YouTube pops and using um it's 40 minutes. I take what that chain of schools is doing learning. I'll check it out. Absolutely. So anyway, we've gotten pretty far afield. We'll check it out. Moonshots by Peter Diamandis. All right, let me put that in my thing. Yeah, I'm trying not to open too many tabs because, like I said, my Chrome is absolutely devouring my memory right now. But anyway, guys, what I'm saying is this: the information is out there, y'all, and some of y'all are specifically if you find yourself stuck in life, if you find yourself not moving ahead the way that you want to. A lot of times it has everything to do with the fact that you have no intellectual curiosity past your point of discomfort, which means you will not step outside your comfort zone to learn something new. Whether it be sitting down like Fearless does and cracks a book open, if that's not your happy place, make it your happy place. But if you're
Hmm.
stuck and spinning your wheels, a lot of times you can reflect internally and say, I don't pursue knowledge enough. I don't consume enough about this specific thing that I want to change in my life. And because I have not, I'm not moving forward. Now, there's a tipping point where you get stuck in the absorption of knowledge mode, and that becomes your happy place. And all you do is look up and research stuff, and then you never take action on anything. And once you get there, I'll wave to you because I'm in that space too.
Right.
But if you're not moving forward in your life, it could be the fact that you have no intellectual curiosity about things that can transform your life. Develop intellectual curiosity about things. Look shit up. That's as simple as look things up, guys. If you don't know, look it up. Put this in your
But not just look it up though, and I think it also depends on where you're looking it up at.
yeah. Well, we did the one about sources too, because Fearless knows I'm a nerd about sources too. Sometimes you got to check your sources. That's why the Jay-Z one, I'm glad you looked it up, because I even said I don't know. It could have come from him. She could have just made it up. But the sources, primary, tertiary. If you want me, guys, if you want me to do an episode about that, I can. I've done it on mine about primary, tertiary, secondary sources, and all the other stuff. I can bring in my journalism school stuff and teach y'all that. Important to action on what you learn. 2 different parts of the brain. Yeah, you in order to this is behavioral science 101. When you learn a thing, it's not enough to learn a thing. You actually have to express the knowledge of the thing in order to start on the pathway to mastery. And so you have to actually not only do you have to learn how to do the skills, but then you have to be able to execute the skills and implement them in real time and real space with real conversations and real interactions with people so that you can figure out precisely how to deploy the thing that you just learned. Yes, so that's a roundabout way of saying you don't learn shit by just looking at it. You actually have to do the thing, whatever the thing is. Um, my thing is the media room. So the media room, I'm gonna teach you basically how to start recording yourself. Different tiers. You got the. Let me put the link on here. Um, if you're interested, I'm here to teach you how to start recording yourself for business, for professional stuff. And I actually have a couple of different clients booked. I'm starting to walk them through the process. If you want to get in as a founder, please do. I'm closing up the founder pricing here in a couple of days. So I will put, and I thought I had it on here. I think it was on my other stream. Um, if you're interested, you want to learn how to start recording yourself. The media room is where we do that. Yep, there it
Hey,
is.
so what does a credit mean on here? Or it gives you
Credits,
300 fresh credit. Like what does that mean?
credits. It lets you know how many. Because a lot of times, like, okay, so with Chat GPT, you have a certain number of credits before Chat GPT will say, okay, we're going to kick you down to a different model or shift you over. And sometimes it'll tell you, sometimes it will just get dumber on you because your usage has been so heavy, it kicks you down the tier. Manus actually shows you this is how many credits you're using on each task. And so credits are AI usage tokens essentially for it, and
Hmm.
it'll tell you how many credits you're using. So if you're using the top level agent, that the highest one, it burns through more credits than using the bottom one. But it also, the top one gives you more thorough information, more thorough outputs.
Hmm.
So anyway, guys, if you want the media room, if you want to learn the ins and outs of learning it, if you want videography plus coaching, and I teach you not only how to record yourself, but I teach you the frameworks and all the other stuff that I've taught people, scan the QR code at the top, guys, and hit me up. I can work remotely. I have my online school community where it's more of a DIY approach, or the brick and mortar hands-on kind of stuff. So just scan the QR code and we'll get you rolling on that one. Fearless, do you have anything else?
Nope, we're good.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been trial and error. One of these days I'm gonna get through this entire outline without having a bunch of side conversations. But anyway, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'll talk to y'all later. Fearless, I'm gonna get up with you real quick after this.
Okay.
Talk to y'all later. Peace.